Pull right over the side, right there, right there.
Am I being detained?
Pull over to the side, right there.
Am I being detained?
Eileen was told she too had to get out because officers wanted to search the car.
I refuse to give you my information.
The cop in the video then asks to see her phone.
Can you see your phone?
No, I'm gonna hold my phone.
You're not holding it.
I am gonna hold my phone because I have my rights.
I'm not telling you nothing else. I want a lawyer now.
You have no right to do that. You have no right to do that.
Ma'am?
Fourth Amendment violation, and she had a right to record.
Not an absolute right. The framers made sure that we are only protected from unreasonable searches and seizures.
United 93, United 93, Cleveland. United 93, Cleveland, do you still hear the center? United 93.
Could it happen again, 10 years later? Billions of dollars have been spent to prevent terrorists from again attacking the United States.
The other tower just collapsed. Ready to collapse. Ready to collapse.
Yet 10 years later, many of the urgent security improvements proposed by the 9/11 Commission, set up to make sure this never happened again, have yet to be implemented.
How are we striking this balance between the need to keep the American people safe and our concerns about privacy? Two commitments that are more important than any commitment I make. Number one, to keep the American people safe, and number two, to uphold the Constitution. They help us prevent terrorist attacks. And the modest encroachments on privacy that are involved in getting phone numbers or duration without a name attached and not looking at content, that on net, it was worth us doing.
"29-year-old Edward Snowden made a number of bold and unverified claims in this interview recorded in a Hong Kong hotel room.
I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
He justified leaking the documents by painting a bleak picture about what could happen if U.S. intelligence agencies continued to collect and store the communications of Americans.
It's going to get worse with the next generation and the next generation who extend the capabilities of this sort of architecture of repression. You realize that you might be willing to accept any risk.
For the first time, the government will be using evidence in a case they admit was obtained through a warrantless wiretap. This will allow Jamshid Maturov to openly fight domestic surveillance before civilian courts. The Supreme Court has refused to hear cases so far, saying plaintiffs had no claim to damages.
These things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who was simply hired by the government.